Hi, my name's Janice Wallace, and I'm going to be your professor for EDU510 over the next 3 and a bit months. It's my pleasure to bring this little video to you to introduce myself to you and kind of put a face to the name for those of you who don't already know me. I live in Victoria, British Columbia, and although I spent several years as professor at the University of Alberta, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but I bring that up because I'm not exactly around the corner from any of you, and if you want to get in touch with me, that may be a concern. But I want to assure you that there are lots of ways for us to talk to one another and to have really meaningful conversations about any of the questions that you might have through Skype, through telephone, email, and the various electronic ways that we now have available to us to be in touch. And so I hope that we'll be in touch a great deal. And certainly at any time, if you have any questions or concerns, I hope that you'll get in touch with me, and sooner rather than later, so that we can make sure that you're comfortable with whatever it is that we're doing in the course, and that any questions that you have at all are addressed and addressed quickly. My academic background is I finished my PhD, well, I did my master's actually at the University of Western Ontario. I was living in Ontario at the time, and spent some years at Western as a professor actually. I did my PhD at OISE at the University of Toronto, and after being at Western for a few years, I saw the error of my ways, so to speak. Not really, but I had an opportunity to apply for a position at the University of Alberta, and I did that and found myself an Albertan, and that's been a really wonderful part of my life. And my children actually lived in Alberta at that point as well, and so that made it an extra special opportunity for me to work and be in the same province as my kids and get to share in their lives as well as the lives of the students that I had an opportunity to work with and to teach while at the University of Alberta. My academic interests tend to focus around issues of leadership, educational administration in the context of contemporary issues, particularly neoliberal reforms, that sort of thing. And also I have a particular interest in issues of social justice. So as they relate to educational leadership, as they relate to what happens in schools, what happens in schooling itself, what happens in terms of relationships institutionally. So those are the kinds of things that over the years I have explored, both in my research and in the writing that I've done. And while that's been a particular focus of mine, I've also had an opportunity to teach actually quite a few research courses at both the master's and doctoral level, and have had an opportunity to work with students who have a whole range of interests. It's always just fascinating getting to know the kinds of things that people are interested in exploring. Coming out of their own experience and the kinds of interests that they have based on their own trajectory in their professional lives and so on. So whatever your topic is, I'll be very interested to hear more about it, and I hope that I'll have lots to offer in supporting you in that process. During my time at the University of Alberta, I was both a professor and an associate dean of undergraduate student services, and so I may have met some of you over the years in courses that I've taught at the undergraduate level or graduate level, for that matter, or as an FEA, or working as a supporting teacher for our student teachers when they go out for their practicum, and all those sorts of things that happen in the preparation of new teachers. So if that's been the case, I would love to know more about that, and we can continue a conversation that we began some time ago. I wanted to let you know that in this little brief video where I'm introducing myself to you and kind of putting a face to a name, this will be a format that I will be using throughout the course. So in most cases, probably in all cases, the units that you'll be exploring over the next few weeks, months, I will be introducing with a mini lecture on video. And I will then take the content and kind of break it down into the main points so that you have a bit of a track to run on in your own reading and preparation for that unit. So I hope that will be helpful. I've heard from other students that that's been very helpful to them, and I hope that will continue to be the case. I may raise questions for you, and of course, as I've said, please feel free to get in touch with me if that's the case. The units on eClass are going to be available, posted at least 1 week ahead, and generally speaking, it will be sooner than that. I don't like to have too much up on the eClass at a time, because I find that you'll have your syllabus, of course, so that will give you the information and the track that we'll be running on. But some of the other kinds of things, I find it becomes a little overwhelming in a course as busy as this. You kind of feel like, there's so much sitting on top of your head, but if you could kind of approach it as one unit at a time and build from unit to unit, that seems to be a more successful approach. I will say that this is going to be a very busy course. There's lots of content for you to cover. There's several assignments. I will be here to support you the whole way, but you will need to be really organized in terms of how you approach the course content so that we can get through it successfully. And if you have concerns about any of that, of course, along the way, please do feel free to get in touch with me. The units on eClass, as I said, will be posted at least a week ahead. I will have Unit 1 completely finalized and up on January the 1st. I've done most of it, but there's a few odds and ends that I want to prepare over the next week or so, so that will be up. And the other kinds of resources, for example, the rubrics for the assignments, the syllabus, those sorts of things, they will be up sooner than that. So probably over the next, shortly after Christmas, actually, I'll be posting that so that you'll have that information available to you. I've also sent out an email to everyone, and I hope that you got it by now, that asks you to order the texts, the Creswell text, as well as the APA, that is the American Psychological Association Style Guide. The text, of course, will be absolutely essential. It's the same text that we used last year, not the year previous to that, but last year, because it was a different version last year. So if you know somebody who's used it, you may be able to get it from them. But otherwise, you can order it through Amazon, maybe even Indigo. I'm not sure of that, but I know that you can get it through Amazon. They'll get it to you quite quickly, and it's more economical than it would be if we were to order them and mail them and all that kind of stuff. So that's the reason that the MES program has chosen to make the text available that way. The APA guide is something that you will use on a continual basis when you are writing your project, when you are completing this course, as well as the other courses that will follow this course in preparation for your, in writing your project, that is. Some people find that they really benefit from having it. Others have chosen not to. My own suggestion is it's worth it. And while you'll only use it for this time, you might use it for doctoral studies in the future, who knows. But in the meantime, it's got everything in there that you need. However, if you choose not to buy it, there are style guides, APA style guides, and it must be APA. APA style guides on, and it must be 6th edition too, by the way. They're on the library site, and I believe there's some other resources that are listed under course resources that will enable you to find some of the kind of more general topics for the kinds of references and citations that you might use. However, for the kind of more esoteric stuff, particularly electronic resources and that sort of thing, it might be worth it. Or you can, get it out of the library and photocopy as many of the pages as you think you might need. So I'll leave that to you, but certainly you'll need the Creswell text. You'll use it for this course as well as subsequent courses, so it's well worth the rather exorbitant cost. But anyway, such as academic commerce. Anyway, I'll leave that one. I believe that's everything that I needed to include at this point. There will be a video that will give more general information about the course up for Unit 1, and you'll want to pay close attention to that. You'll also want to read over the syllabus and keep in mind that the descriptions for the assignments are what the rubrics are based on. So you need to know what precisely is being asked for, And again, I put it out. If you have any questions, certainly feel free to get in touch with me. So welcome to EDU510. I hope over the next couple of weeks you have a wonderful, restful holiday. Rest up, have a great time with family and friends, enjoy yourself, and get revved up and ready to go for a busy, but I think very interesting semester to come. So welcome, and I'll be talking to you several times over the next few months. Take care.